Good day to all of you. Today we will be working on the 71st creation in our lesson series. First, click on the plus mark at the top of the screen and open a new tab. Next, type thunkable.com in the address bar and click the enter button. Now you have entered the Thunkable website. Click the login button at the top corner and log into your Thunkable account. Now again, click on the plus mark at the top corner of the screen, open another tab and visit the dpcode.lk website. Click on lesson number 273. Click the Start Project button here. Now you have entered the project. Today we are going to create a smart integrated system app using Thunkable website. Just like the apps we have made before, you will love this app too. First of all, we need to design the app as required. In the previous lessons, we learned a lot about how to design an app. Good. Now look at this screen. I have designed this app just like we learned in previous lessons. Create 3 screens as main screen, screen water supply, and screen garage. First, let's see how to design the main screen. Give dark blue color as the background color of the main screen. A column has been added and renamed as column main in this screen. A label has been added to the column main and the text has been given as Smart Click. An image has been created below this label. Therefore, we add the smarthouse.png image. Next, 4 rows have been added below this column. For each of these rows, select absolute size and give the value as 70 for the height. Also, the horizontal alignment was changed to space between. We added an image and a button to the first row. Watersupply.png image has been given as the image. Also, the button has been renamed as Button Water Supply and the text has been given as Main Water Supply. In the next row too, we have added an image and a button garage.png image was added as the image. The button has been renamed as Button Garage and the text has been given as Garage. Next is the third row. We have added an image and a button in this row too. Security.png image was added as the image. The button has been renamed as Button Security. Also, the text of this button has been given as Security. Now, it's the last row. As before, an image and a button have been added to this row as well. For the image power supply, powersupply.png image is given as the image. The button was renamed as Button Power Supply and the text was given as Power Supply. Okay. Now we have designed the main screen. Next is the screen water supply. Let's see how this screen is designed. For the screen water supply also, we give dark blue color as the background color. Next, a column was added to this screen. 2 labels have been added to the column. We give water supply as the text of the first label. We have selected white color as the font color and the size is given as 35. The text of the next label is given as Click on the pump and valve to start the water supply. Okay, next a canvas has been added below this column. We give F5 A623 as the code for the background color of the canvas stage. Also, we give dark blue color as the frame color. Next, let's see how sprite types and sprites have been created. First, there is the sprite type pipe from tank. We added 2 images as pipe1.png and pipe2.png into this sprite. There is sprite pipe from tank. There is sprite pipe from tank under that. Next, there is the sprite type valve. For this, as before, 2 images have been added as valve1.png and valve2.png. Sprite valve is available under sprite type valve. The next sprite type is sprite type pump. Similar to before, we added 2 images, namely pump1.png and pump2.png to the picture list. We created a sprite as sprite pump in this sprite type. The next sprite type is sprite type pipe after tank. We added pipe3.png and pipe4.png as images. The sprite pipe after tank sprite is there. Next, we have the sprite type water supply. For this, I have added 2 images as tank1.png and tank2.png. I have created 2 sprites as sprite tank 1 and sprite tank 2 inside sprite type water supply. For sprite tank 1, we added tank1.png and tank2.png image was added to sprite tank 2. The final sprite type is sprite type home. I have added the home.png image. We created a sprite called sprite home in sprite type home. Okay. Now we have designed the canvas. Next, I have added a button called button completed below the canvas. I removed the text in this button and gave completed.png image as the background image. Since this button needs to be hidden at the start of the game, we have set it as visible false. Okay, next is the screen garage. Let's see how we have designed this screen in the next lesson. Now let's create the code for the part we finished designing. Before that, let's see what happens with this app. When you click on each of these buttons on the main screen, the corresponding screen should be displayed. First, let's click on Screen Water Supply. Since the valve and the pump are closed at the beginning of the game, the water does not flow. We can click on this valve and the pump and activate this system. Now the water is flowing along the pipes. The images of the corresponding sprites need to change when the water flows. Okay, so let's create the code. First, click on the main screen and go to the Blocks tab. At this point, we need two variables assigned based on whether the valve and the pump are active or not. For that, let's drag the initialize app variable name to code block under variables like this. The name of the variable is given as input value 1. At the beginning, let's assign the value of this variable as 0. I will link a code block with 0 under man. Okay, we need another variable like this. Therefore, let's duplicate this code block. I will right click and give duplicate. Okay, now let's change the name of the variable as input value 2 in the duplicated code block. Next, we have to create the code to display the screen water supply. After clicking the button water supply, I will drag the button water supply click code block here. Now let's drag the navigate to code block under the control into the when button water supply click code block. Click on the arrow in front of the screen name and select screen water supply. Let's change the value of the two variables input value 1 and input value 2. Input value 2 that we created to 0 since the valve and the pump are turned off. I will drag the set app variable input value 1 to code block under variable upwards from the navigate to screen water supply click water supply code block like this. Here let's connect a code block with 0 under man. This way it is necessary to create the code for input value 2 as well. Therefore, let's duplicate this code block. The duplicated code block is dragged below the set app variable input value 1 code block like this. Click on this arrow and change the name of the variable to app variable input value 2. Okay, next I will go to the screen water supply. First, I will create a variable called break loop 1 here. For that, let's drag the initialize app variable name to code block under variables like this. The name of the variable is given as break loop 1. Let's assign the value of this variable to false at the beginning. I am attaching a false code block from under logic here. Okay. Next, when you click on the valve, and if the valve is activated, give the sprite valve an image indicating that water is flowing. And if the valve is turned off, give an image showing that the water is not flowing. I will drag when sprite type pipe from tank is click code block under events in the canvas blocks. Click on this arrow and change the sprite type to sprite type valve. Again, I will drag an if code block from under control into the when sprite type valve is click code block. Now let's check if the valve is turned off. As a condition here, I will drag a code block with the equal sign under logic. Connect an app variable input value 1 code block onto the left side of the equal sign of variables and connect a code block with 0 under math to the right side. Okay, if the value of input value 1 variable is equal to 0, that means the valve is turned off. At this point, if you click on the valve, you need to provide the image of the valve through which the water flows as the sprite valve. Let's drag the set sprite pipe from tank image number to 1 code block under looks into the if code block. The sprite here is not sprite pipe from tank. For this, we will drag the component code block that is connected to the when sprite type valve is click code block like this. Let's go back to the design and check which image is the one that shows water flowing in the image list of the sprite type valve. Okay, it's the second in the list. I will come back to the blocks tab and change the image number as 2. When you click on the valve, when the valve is off, it is necessary to turn the valve back on. That means the value of the input value 1 variable needs to be 1. So we need to drag a setup variable input value 1 code block which is under variables. Connect a code block with 0 under math and change the value here as 1. Okay. Now we have created the code for the instance where the valve is off. Next is to create the code for the instance where the valve is on. Before that, this if code block needs to be prepared as if-else if. For that, let's click the settings icon in front of if. Now I will drag an else if code block on the left side of this box to the right side like this. Okay, now click the settings icon again and remove this box. Next, you need to check whether the valve is on. In this case, the value of the input value 1 variable needs to be 1. I will drag a code block with the equal sign under logic as the condition here. Connect the app variable input value 1 code block under code block to the left side of the equal sign and connect the code block with 0 under math to the right side. Let's change the value here as 1. Okay. At this point, we need to provide the image of the valve where water does not flow for the sprite valve. Let's drag the set sprite pipe from tank image number to 1 code block under looks into this if code block. As before, let's drag the component code block connected to the when sprite type valve is click code block for this sprite. Okay, let's leave the image number as 1. Since the water flowing image is the first image in the sprite type valve. When you click on the valve when the valve is on, we need to turn off the valve. That means the value of the input value 1 variable needs to be 0. Let's drag the setup variable input value 1 code block here from under variables. For the value, connect a code block with 0 from under map. Okay. Now the code is created for instances where the valve is on or off. Next, let's create the code for turning the pump on or off in the same way. As before, we need to provide an image of water flowing when the pump is turned on for the sprite pump and an image of the water not flowing when the pump is turned off. For this, we can duplicate the code block created for the sprite type valve click instance. This way, I will right click on the when sprite type valve is click code block and give duplicate. Let's drag the duplicated code down like this and change the required data. First, click on the arrow in front of the sprite type and select the sprite type pump. Next, we use the input value 2 variable to assign whether the pump is on or off and not the input value 1 variable. Therefore, the input value here is changed as 2. Now, when the value of the input value 2 variable is 0, that is when the pump is turned off. An image of water flowing is given for the sprite pump. Next, the pump needs to switch on. Switch on when you click on the pump that is off. That means the value of input value 2 variable becomes 1. Let's change the name of the variable to input value 2 here. Change the name of the variable in the else if section also as input value 2. Finally, here also let's change it as setup variable input value to 2. Good. Okay. Now we have finished creating the code for the valve as well as for the pump. Now, water needs to be flowing in the system if both the valve and the pump are on. If water is flowing in the system, you should provide images of water flowing for sprite home, sprite pipe from tank and sprite pipe after tank. Let's create the code for this now. Drag the when canvas 1 loads code block under events in canvas blocks. Now, click on control and drag a repeat while code block into the when canvas 1 loads code block. Drag a code block with the equal sign under logic for the condition here. Connect an app variable break loop 1 code block under variables is to the left side of the equal sign and a force code block under logic is connected to the right. While creating the code for screen water supply, we first created a variable called break loop 1 and assigned its value as false. The value of this variable will be false until the water supply system is complete. So here we repeat this code until the value of break loop 1 variable is false. Let's drag an if-else code block under control into the repeat while code block like this. Now let's check whether the valve and the pump are in. Here I am attaching a code block with the and sign under logic. To the left of the and sign, drag the equal code block from under logic. First, click on variables held on the left of the equal sign and drag an app variable input value 1 code block. Let's drag a code block with 0 in math to the right of the equal sign and change the value to 1. Duplicate the app variable input value 1 equal 1 code block that we created. Let's drag the duplicated code block to the right side of the and sign like this. Change the name of the variable as app variable input value 2. Now look at the code block we have created. We will check whether the value of input value 1 variable is equal to 1 and whether the value of input value 2 variable is equal to 1. If the value of input value 1 variable is equal to 1, the valve will be on. Also, if the value of input value 2 variable is equal to 1, the pump will be on. If the values of both these variables are equal and if the pump and the valve are both on, the water will be flowing in the system. Therefore, we need to provide images of water flowing. For sprite home, sprite pipe from tank and sprite pipe after tank. I will drag a set sprite pipe from tank image number to 1 code block under looks in the canvas blocks here. Let's change the image number to because water is flowing. Again, we need to provide images in this way for sprite pipe from tank and sprite home. I will duplicate the code block for that. Let's drag the duplicated code block down below the set sprite pipe from tank image number to 1 code block like this. Let's duplicate the code block in the same way once again. Let's drag duplicated code block down like this. First, click on the arrow in front of sprite pipe from tank in the duplicated code block and change the sprite to sprite pipe after tank. Let's change the sprite to sprite home in the second code block. Now water is flowing in the system. That means the system is complete. We can make the button completed visible as we hid it when we designed the app. After clicking button completed, drag the set button completed visible to code block below the set sprite home image number to 2 code block like this. Click on this arrow and select true. Okay. Next is to complete the else part of this if code block. That means the situation where the pump and the valve are not on. Water does not flow through the system at this point. Therefore, we need to provide images where the water does not flow, sprite pipe from tank, sprite pipe after tank and sprite home. We can duplicate the 3 previously created code blocks for this purpose. First, I will duplicate the set sprite pipe from tank code block like this. Let's drag the duplicated code block into the else section. Again, duplicate the set sprite pipe after tank code block and drag it down. In this way, the set sprite home code block is also duplicated. Okay. Now we need to change the image number of the duplicated code blocks to 1 as the water is not flowing. Let's remove 2 from the 3 code blocks and type 1. Okay, now we are almost done creating the code. There is still a little work to be done. Now that we have completed the water supply system, the value of the break loop variable needs to be true. When the button completed is clicked, I will drag a when button completed code block under button completed here. Let's drag the set app variable input value to code block in the variables into the when button completed click code block. The name of the variable is changed to app variable break loop 1 by clicking on this arrow. Now let's connect a true code block from under logic like this. Okay, after a few moments, let's change the value of the break loop variable to false and display the main screen. Again, from the control section, I drag a wait 1 second code block below the set app variable break loop 1 to true code block. Let's change the time here to 0.2 seconds. Next, let's duplicate this code block we created earlier by right-clicking on the set app variable break loop 1 to true code block. The duplicated code block is dragged down like this. Click on the arrow in front of true and give the value of the variable as false. Next, I will drag the navigate to main screen code block under control like this because the main screen needs to be displayed. Okay, now we have finished creating the main screen and the water supply screen in the Smart Integrated System app. Again, go to the main screen and click the Live Test button here to see if the water supply system is working properly. WhatsApp your design to me on the phone number 076-812-5244. Tell your friends about the design. Check out this app to send to me as well as to your friends. And one more thing, join the DP Coding School Telegram group. Try to be the DP Code champ, best of the week, every week. Stay connected with us. Also another thing, join our DP Coding Club. And now you can start a DP Coding Club in your school. We are ready to give all the guidance for that. If you are interested in starting DP Coding Clubs in any school that has computer labs, please send a request through the principal to the email address info@dpcc.lk. Okay, let's meet again with another interesting lesson through DP Coding School. Have a good day.